Hey there, House here. Last week was another semi-consistent week for me. I went 11-5, bringing my overall record to 162, 94, and 1, and keeping my win percentage at a steady 63%. Now I know I don't have the same scenic background that I did last week. I am back from vacation and I am recording at home. Now with this being the final week of the regular season, I'll be making my predictions similarly to how I made them last year. For those that remember or not, I will be flipping a coin to make this week's predictions. This is the coin I will be using. This will be for heads, and this will be for tails. If the coin comes up heads, I will be choosing the home team, and if it comes up tails, I'll be picking the away team. So let's get right into the pick, shall we? First up, we have two games set for today. The first one is the Broncos, who are the home team, against the Chiefs. And we have a tails, and that will be the Chiefs. Now, this is a game that I think they should win relatively easily. Most of their offensive pieces are back after missing some time on the health and safety protocol. This is an important game for them as they're looking to attempt to lock up the number one overall seed in the conference. They need a win, and they need a loss by the Titans, I believe, to secure the number one overall seeds. So they'll at least be able to take care of their half of it. Next game and the final game for Saturday will be the Eagles versus the Cowboys. Now the Eagles are also the home team. And we have the away, so this will be the Cowboys. Pardon me, I'm going to be keeping track as I have these predictions go. So this one is the Cowboys. So the Cowboys. Not exactly the most important game in the world for them. They're already locked in for the division. The Eagles have also clinched a playoff spot. They can either be the number 6 or 7 seed. The Cowboys can go from either 4 all the way up to 2 with the win. So it is important in that regard. But after hearing that they're more than likely going to start the game with their starters and then quickly transition to their bench as they want to try to get the players a little bit of playing time, but not have them really worn out, as the more important game is next week. So look for Dak and Elliott and Cooper and CeeDee Lamb to start, but then probably taken out at some point in the second or third quarter. With Cooper Rush coming in to back up, I think he's got a good chance to help lead this team to victory, as the Eagles will also be benching their starters at some point during the game. Will they'll turn to Gardner Minshew as opposed to Jalen Hurts and so on. So can pick the Cowboys on this one. Next up, starting Sunday, we have the Giants versus the Washington football team. The Giants are the home team. And we have the home team, who are the Giants. Now, this is more or less a meaningless game in the NFL. Between these two, both teams have been eliminated from contention. It's unsure if the Giants will be starting either Jake Fromm or Mike Glennon. They'll more than likely start Fromm just to give him another look, see if he can find some success there. It could be a game that they win, seeing as how Washington's defense is not very good and they're missing a lot of their defensive linemen. So if the Giants could attempt to establish the run with Barkley, they should be successful here. So we have the Giants. Next, we have the Browns versus the Bengals, and the Browns are the home team. And we have tail for the Bengals. Now, this is a game that more or less the Bengals, it's not important for them. They've already won the division, and they have already announced that their backup quarterback, Brandon Allen, will be starting in this game as opposed to Joe Burrow, and they also brought up a quarterback from the practice squad to back him up. So don't expect to see Burrow or Mixon or Jamar Chase or any of their other big names in this game. Now, this is still a winnable game with the Browns also not fighting for a playoff contention, so there's no real reason to have Baker out there, but maybe they'll start with him and Chubb and move them on as the game progresses. I like the Bengals in this one. It's a game that I think that they could still win even without all their starters. Next, we have the Ravens versus Steelers. Now, this one could have some playoff implication. The Ravens need a lot to happen to make it. The Steelers, a little bit simpler of a path, but they both need to win. And the Ravens are the home team. We've got the away. That is the Steelers. This is more than likely going to possibly be the last game that we see Ben Roethlisberger play unless they win and they have some things happen for them where they could make the playoffs. with the Ravens not going to have the services of Lamar Jackson. He's already been ruled off of the game, so they'll be trotting out Tyler Huntley. He's a serviceable backup for them, but the Ravens are also losers of 4 or 5 in a row at this point, and the Steelers had a surprise win last week to keep their playoff hopes alive, so they'll be able to go out one more time and get another win for Big Ben. Next up, Lions versus the Packers. The Lions are at home. And we have the away team. That's the Packers. The Packers should win this one pretty easily. Matt LaFleur, who is the head coach of the Packers, has already said that he's going to have his starters out there to play. We're not quite sure how long he will have them out there to play, seeing as how they've already clinched the division and the number 1 overall seed in the conference. But he wants his players to stay fresh and not have 2 straight weeks of a bye week, essentially, with next week having off, and then to have some rust. So expect them to be in for at least a half, and in that half, they should run up the score against the Lions. So we've got the Packers. Next up, Jaguars versus the Colts, and the Jaguars are the home team. And we have home team. I'm picking the Jaguars. Not traditionally a pick I would have gone with, but maybe the coin knows better than me. The Jaguars are completely out of it, but if they do somehow force a win against this Colts team, that could set up a pretty interesting playoff scenario for some different teams. The Colts would be eliminated, and the late game, which is the Chargers versus the Raiders, if they both tie, they both make the playoffs. It's something that people have been talking about. If the Jaguars beat the Colts and those two teams tie, they'd both make it. So people are saying, well, maybe they'll just kneel back and forth if the Jaguars do beat the Colts. I guess we'll see what happens. The Jaguars have a decent defense, and there's been plenty of surprises in the NFL so far this year. So what's one more? Next up, Vikings versus the Bears, and the Vikings are at home. We've got a helmet, which is the Vikings. Vikings, I believe, will win this game. This will more than likely be Mike Zimmer's last game as the head coach of the Vikings, and their starters will be out there for him to hopefully get him one win as he's on his way out. The Bears, I believe they'll be starting Andy Dalton, assuming he's healthy. They don't have much on offense to really match up against this Vikings team. And the last time they played, the Bears offense did not look good. So I think the Vikings are a good pick here. Next, Texans versus the Titans. Texans are the home team. And we're going on the road. We're picking the Titans. The Titans also need a win here. They've clinched a playoff berth, but I believe they still have a shot for the number 1 overall seed. So they need a win here, and they clinch it. Doesn't matter what happens with Kansas City. If the Titans win here or if Kansas City loses today, they clinch the number 1 overall seed in the conference. So picking the Titans here with A.J. Brown looking to do some work. Next, we have the Falcons versus the Saints, and the Falcons are the home team. Got a little away from me there. And we've got a road that is the Saints. The Saints, also a team vying for a playoff spot. They need a win here and a little bit of help to have them clinch a playoff spot. If they do get in, it's definitely a matchup that nobody would like to go against. They have a very stout defense, and trying to stop either Alvin Kamara or Taysom Hill with the read option, or just Taysom Hill wanting to run right down your throat, they could be tough, especially in some cold weather climates. If they play some road games against some cold weather opponent, it's hard to stop the run, especially in cold weather. All right, the next game we have the Cardinals versus Seahawks, and the Cardinals are the home team. Oh, that was a bad one. I'm going to do another one. A little better. We've got road, and that is the Seahawks. So the Seahawks are going to win this one. It's a game that doesn't mean anything for them. The Seahawks have already been eliminated from the playoffs. This could also be the final game of Russell Wilson in Seattle, depending on what happens in the offseason. Some trade ideas have been floated out around there. The Cardinals need a win to have a chance to win the division against the Rams. So losing this one, they'd still be in the playoffs, but they would not win their own division, and they'd have to go on the road for their first game. So picking the Seahawks here with maybe a little bit more of Russ magic in his possible final game for the Seahawks. All right, then we have the Bills versus the Jets, and the Bills are the home team. And we've got another road, which is the Jets. Now, this another one that probably not many would anticipate. The Bills are battling for a divisional title against the Patriots, so they need a win as well to clinch that. The Jets are a team that are out of it, and a win would only hurt their draft position, but it's also a game that they could find a way to win if they get some key turnovers, if Zach Wilson in his final game of his rookie season has a solid and consistent game and doesn't turn the ball over. And if Josh Allen plays the way Josh Allen played in the middle of the season where he was just awful. So maybe the Jets will sneak it out. I guess we'll see. All right, now we've got the Bucs versus the Panthers. And the Bucs are the home team. Another road, that's 3 road in a row, and that is the Panthers. Again, not one that most would anticipate, but again, maybe the coin knows better. The Panthers, they're calling this season a wash. The Panthers have dealt with some quarterback issues, first with the inconsistent play and then the injury to Sam Darnold, and then Cam Newton coming back in to try to resurrect his career, and that was a flop. And then Christian McCaffrey being injured most of the season and then being shut down for the rest of it about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So this is a game that's not very important to the Bucs. It's only going to change their seeding between 2 and 4. Either way, their first game is going to be at home, which is going to be beneficial to them. So maybe they'll start the game with Brady, and then depending on how it's going or if he takes a couple of hits, maybe they'll take him up because it's not as important. So maybe the Panthers get lucky and they win this one. Next up, we have the Dolphins versus the Patriots, and the Dolphins are at home. And we've got a home helmet. That is the Dolphins. Patriots are going to be battling to try to win the division against the Bills. If Tua can play consistently and march his team down the field and not turn the ball over, and if they're able to stop the run that the Patriots offer, they could win this game. All right. Second to last game, that is the Rams versus the 49ers. And we've got a road. That is the 49ers. Now, the 49ers, they are battling for a playoff spot, and the Rams are battling for a division title. The 49ers need a win, and they need, I believe, the Saints to lose. And I'm sorry. The 49ers need to win, or they need the Saints to lose, and I believe that clinches a playoff spot for them. Jimmy Garoppolo did practice all week, so he is expected to play. It's trending in the right direction, so that'll definitely help them out as they're looking to force their way in the playoffs. If he does suffer some form of a setback, they can go with Trey Lance, who performed incredibly well last week, so they're not losing too much there with him coming in. They will face a tough test against this Rams defense that is still one of the tops in the league, but if they can get the run game going with Elijah Mitchell the way he ran last week, they're going to be a tough out. So picking the Niners on this one. And our last game, the one that could have implications if the Jaguars beat the Colts, that is the Raiders versus the Chargers. A game where if they both just kneel down after the Jaguars beat the Colts, they both make the playoffs, and they have to figure out some kind of different tiebreak restructure for the postseason, which I think would be kind of funny. So let's check it out. The Raiders are also at home. And we've got a home helmet. That's the Raiders. The Raiders are going to win this one, assuming that they both don't just kneel down. The Raiders do need a win here to help clinch a playoff spot. Carr has had a pretty good year. He started out hot. He kind of fizzled a little bit, and he's come on strong as of late. He's been without some weapons with Ruggs and then Waller being hurt and then put on the COVID list. I believe he is expected to come back, so that'll definitely help their pass offense. If Jacobs can hold on to the ball, get about 20, 25 touches, close to 100 yards, and maybe a score, I like the Raiders in this one. The Chargers don't have a defense that can really stop anybody. They're looking to outscore you. So if Herbert has an off night, the Raiders could take advantage. Well, there you have it. Those are my picks as we wrap up this 2021-2022 NFL season. Thank you for tuning into the House Report. I know this episode went a little bit longer than usual, but that's what happens when I do a coin flip and I just go off the cuff. If there were some selections that you disagree with, well, talk to the coin. Be on the lookout for my next video as I give you a recap on how these picks went, my final overall record, and my win percentage for the season, as well as my postseason predictions. And for all my betting friends out there, remember, you win some and you lose some, but the house always wins.